Well, let's talk about the ball side overload. This is our primary offense, and it can be run to either side. We'll start with the ball at the point, and the number one, or whoever's at the point, has the ball. We have our two wings, which are at the free throw line extended position. And if we notice now, our 4 and our 5 are down low, below the basket, somewhat behind the defense. Well, we'll start this offense by passing the ball out to the wing. This can be done by the direct pass, or we could do a handoff with a screen if their defense is really covering us pretty tight out there. It's possible that the two may have to V-cut in and out to get open if one of the defenders, the X1 or the X2, is over there on him. But in any case, you see here how we're going to get it out to the wing, and that will signal everything to start happening. Once the ball is out to the wing, we will probably see a defensive shift, and this X1 or X2 will have to move to cover the ball. Our 1, after the pass, will immediately begin making her cut this way. Our 3 on the far side will know that she has to fill in at the top, also drawing a defender most likely with her. This defender will either all come out already here or will stay down on the block. Our 4, ball side, will set the screen, and our 5 will come past that player to the high post. As this happens, our wing will decide if they want to try on the dribble to penetrate or make one of the passes either underneath here to this open mid-range shot from the 1, or a pass into the high post, or if the dribble attack isn't open, if their defenders have rotated, to pass the ball back out to the 1, which will signal the player who was down low to continue the cut and swing around. And then we will pass to that side, and the offense is run on the left side in the similar fashion. What we may find, especially if we run it here to the back side, is that the defense is slow to shift back over, and as they struggle to shift, this cut now may be made closer to the basket, and instead of a mid-range jumper, may have something easy from the block or even a layup if the defense is very slow to react. The signal for this play will be the point guard during the dribble, holding up a number 1. You can come up with a name on your own. I like ball side overload. Another type of overload play is this play we're going to call the backside overload. And again, it's an offense that can be run to either side. If we get in trouble on one side, we just swing the ball around the perimeter and try it on the opposite side. The reason we call it the backside overload is not because we overload on the backside, but because a backside player makes a cut, and that creates our overload. Again, this play can be run to either side, and putting the ball out on the wing will determine which side we're running the play. So starting with our same positions, our point, our 2 and 3, or our wings, are at free throw extended, and our 4 and 5 are underneath behind the defense. Let's say we have the ball out successfully to our wing, and we know we are running this play to the right. Again, it can be run to the left just as easily. Once the ball is on the wing, things need to start happening rather quickly. The 5 will come up to the high post from their position down underneath the basket. It's okay if they see you move there. We actually want that 5 in the middle to be drawn up to deal with you, as the X1 and X2 should shift now to cover the right side of the court. From our backside now, the 3, or whoever's on the backside of the play, will cut behind the defense right about to where the 4 is currently, kind of below on the block. The 4 will then move to screen here, the nearest player, as the 3 continues her movement on the baseline. The only way to cover this overload is for the X3 down here on the block to move over, or for there to be a different shift of defense. The wing will now decide if they want to take the ball into the 3, to dribble penetrate if it's open, to pass to that high post if the 5 hasn't covered up or is coming down to help, or if for some reason nothing is working, to pass that ball back out to our safety. When we see that ball come back out to our safety, we know there's one spot on our perimeter where there is no guard, and we want to have that spot covered, and so we got to make sure that our 3, wherever is underneath, has now come back out so we can try to swing this ball around. If we swing this ball back out now to this side, our 4 and our 5 know that their job is to switch places. Low, set a screen, show at the high post, and since we're running a backside overload, now the other wing has come around, cut from the backside, and that backdoor cut should get a mid-range jumper somewhere in this area, especially if we don't get the shift that we expect from that defense. The signal for the backside overload will be 2 fingers held up by the point as she's coming down the court. Our third offense is really more of just a single play, and this is a pick and roll. We might call it quick right or quick left. The signal for this will be a fist that is held up by our point as she's coming down the court. Let's say our point's holding up her right hand, her right fist. That means we're going to run this to the right. Or if you hear me yell, quick right, same kind of signal. So let's say that we are running this to the right. The wing on the right side here will set this screen, which will free up our ball handler, to come around that screen with the ball to a position here. At the same time that is happening, our 4 comes up, and it's going to set a pick here on whoever's playing in the middle, the X5 position. And from the backside, the 5 is going to come down here to the low block, trying to stay behind the defender. We know right now that the 1 spot, the point, is open, and so we've got to fill that so that we have a safety valve and we have a defensive player in case we have a turnover on this right side. This does depend on speed, because more than likely this X1 or X2 is going to be trying to fight through this screen to come over and cover. So our idea is that our ball handler here is going to force this defender to make a decision. Get into a point where you can make a shot, an easy mid-range jumper, and see what this girl does. If she decides to come out and cover you, if she's running at you quickly, you should be able to make that pass for an easy layup. If she decides to stay back, you'll want to take this shot before the X2 or X1 can come down and rectify her mistake of getting caught up on that pick. If this is failing, then our wing, after setting this pick and the X gets by, needs to make sure to roll out to this open space. And then we'll push it out here, push back to our point. We'll realize which spot needs to be filled here on the wing. We always will try the other side, and now it's no longer a pick and roll, but back to our normal offense. And our 4 and our 5 realize they need to switch. Who is high becomes low. Who is low goes high. Our 1, after making that first pass, has gone to overload on this side, and now the defense needs to be sure to switch and shift, and if they don't in time, we'll have a pass to the high post, a pass to this baseline jumper, dribble penetration. We also remember that on the backside, again, we swing around to fill in that 1 spot. And so now we're just back to our normal ball side overload offense out of this 1 quick right play.